Hi folks, welcome to the Cobb TV studio again with Chairwoman Lisa Cupid on this Friday. Kind of gloomy outside, but you mentioned in my office a short time ago, there's a lot going on.
Yes, there is, and certainly today I believe is a great day despite what the weather may indicate. I had visited the graduation for our executive support professionals, and it was wonderful to hear all the exciting ideas they have to help move the county forward.
Right, and you were in this very studio just a few days ago when we were talking with our community development director about the Unified Development Code, and why was that question and answer session necessary?
You know, you said the operative word necessary, and we believe that we needed to get in front of the public and let them know the truth about the UDC. You know, there was a lot of misinformation that was out there about how it was going to change the character of Cobb County, particularly our suburban communities, and how this was bad, and a lot of other connected issues that had nothing to do with the code were being attached to it. And we wanted to let the community know that this is an opportunity to simplify our zoning standards and to make it easier for the public and our development community to understand.
There were a lot of questions that were addressed. So what's the next step in this process?
Yes, one thing that I am very appreciative of is that there is a significant public engagement piece to updating our code. According to our community development director, Jessica Gwynn, who did a great job, it's going to be about an 18 to 24 month process. Well, there'll be many points of engagement for the public to weigh in and provide feedback so that they're aware of the code and so that we are making sure that our code is responsive to their concerns.
The big takeaway I got from that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that this UDC really, it's a tool, not a significant it's not really a policy change at all, really. It's a tool to help the county do its job better.
I agree, yes. I mean, at the end of the day, it still takes 3 out of 5 commissioners to pass policy and make a zoning decision, and we are not changing anything about that process. The public will still have an opportunity to weigh in and let us know what their thoughts are regarding zoning. Still be the same public notice that's given. This will again just streamline our documents so that our development code and other codes that sit separate to our zoning code but inform how we develop will all be unified in one document.
Another event that happened since we last spoke here was got together with our legislative delegation out at the Jim R. Miller Event Center and just had pretty much a free-ranging exchange of ideas about what we think is important, what they think is important, and how that all fits in with what we do here in county government.
Yes, this is the second year that we have had opportunity to pull together a legislative agenda as a board that I feel very good about. This is the second time that we've actually voted on it formally. And we will be putting forward similar priorities to what we've had this year, expanding our health interests to include mental health, which has been a priority during this past year and a half, dealing with COVID impacts. But also we wanted to look at financial and economic stability as well of our county. I think we have opportunity to also look at environmental sustainability, and that's also a priority. Another thing is workforce development. You know, the way things have changed, people are reevaluating what work looks like and what work should look like for them. And we have not been unique in dealing with some of the struggles with that in the county. And so we have an opportunity to try to get a better pulse on how we can better attract and retain employees. Stormwater has also been a big issue that you're aware of. And we've also added, thanks to Commissioner Gambrell, a policy priority for us to look at stormwater in the county, hopefully with support of our state delegation. And I'm trying to see if I'm missing anything else. Again, our policy interests from last year have been continued, so still COVID's a priority, housing is a priority, transportation is a priority, as well as public safety.
And there was one in there about, I think, environmental and fiscal stability as well.
Yes. We need to make sure we're keeping up with all of the developments that are going on with, it could be electrification of vehicles or other matters to keep Cobb County safe and green.
You brought up the topic of stormwater when it has to do with the legislative delegation, but we have a meeting Tuesday. In fact, it's the only Board of Commissioners meeting in December, and stormwater will be an agenda item in the meeting. Yeah. And what will that hope to accomplish?
For some time, I almost want to say for about a decade here, this thought of a stormwater utility has come up as a more robust way of financing and addressing stormwater issues in the county. And there has been renewed discussion about this. In fact, there was discussion about this when I first came in as a commissioner, but considering the floods that we had in the county in September, there's been renewed interest in us looking at this as a robust tool, again, of financing stormwater, since it's becoming an increased concern of our residents. And so next Tuesday, we hope to have supportive enough commissioners to let the staff know we are prioritizing this, and we would like for them to study this and examine this further.
And we had a storm flood event in September. And as a news junkie, who consumes it, these events are not unique to Cobb County. I mean, these flooding events, because of climate change, most likely are happening more frequently, really all over. We heard there was flooding in Hawaii just this past week. And so stormwater, not just from September, but I think nationwide and going forward, is going to be just a huge topic.
Absolutely right. And we're happy that we are taking it, the time to examine what we can do differently, considering that we're having more impact from stormwater issues.
Another thing that's coming up Tuesday as well in the meeting is moving Juneteenth as a county holiday.
Yes. Last year we know that it was made a federal holiday, and we had a lot of questions around that. We're not into 2022 yet. This year, earlier, was made a federal holiday. And this is just an opportunity for us to update our calendar to reflect that.
Before time gets away from us, I wanted to bring up a couple of other topics. One has got to do with the World Series. I mean, that was obviously several weeks ago, but I don't think a lot of people realize that the work involving that continues. There's an agenda item on Tuesday's meeting about that, and a series of meetings with Braves officials and others about what we did right, what we need to improve on for something like this. I mean, what does that say to you about the process of becoming a big league county, which we really are today?
I think one of the main things it exemplifies is that we are hopeful and confident that we'll experience this again. Yeah. It's not just reflecting on what happened, but we want to be ready for the next time. And so I appreciate this proactive measure. We were literally building an airplane while flying it, and it took off and went well, but we want to do better when we have opportunity to cross this road again.
And I know anytime we have an agenda item that has to do with spending money that we don't expect to spend, that raises the eyebrows of some. And this agenda item will spend an additional, I think, $105,000 above the $350,000 we already budgeted. But it was mentioned in a meeting we were at yesterday. We probably made up that in the county from the first game alone, much less the other things that happened. So it's just the kind of, hate to say price of doing business, but that's really what it is.
It is. I mean, all we could do was really project at best what this was going to cost us. And we looked, backwards and looked at the All-Star game and the daily impacts we thought we'd have from that. But no one really knew what this was going to look like. We hoped for, but we did not necessarily know that we would win and have a parade that we would have to plan for and fund. And we're very grateful to have had that opportunity. I think this is a great position for the county to be in. And as you shared, we not only generated a lot of interest in Cobb, but we generated revenue on top of that.
Right. My daughter works down at the Battery, and I know things have been hopping there even well after. I think people just got to see what it was all about and are coming to Cobb County.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, and we're getting about out of time, but I did want to mention a couple of things. We want to just mention briefly the Mlk Observance that we're going to do in person again in January. We're asking people to submit their auditions for that program virtually this year. We'll put some information up on the screen about that. And Chairwoman, you also mentioned that the calendar is just full in the days coming up, moving ahead.
Yes, certainly a lot to take care of. This will be a unique year for us in that we'll have one Board of Commissioners meeting. So that will be next week, Tuesday at 9 a.m. And so we'll have a pretty lengthy meeting because we will be condensing our calendar for that month. So just ask for the public to tune in. You can always go to cobbcounty.org and take a look at the agenda if there's anything you want to weigh in on. And as a part of our second Tuesday agenda, we typically have an update from Cobb Douglas Public Health, and you can expect to see that since we know the last time we've had that, there's been the immersion of the Omicron variant, and we've had a lot of questions that we'd like to be able to respond to that day.
Yeah, and I know they will update us all on the latest with that, including, I mentioned this to you in my office earlier, the most surprising thing that I learned this morning was the biggest increases are coming in that 5 to 17 year age group when it comes to contracting COVID. So it's just important for everybody to get vaccinated and boosted if necessary.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah. All right, well, I appreciate you coming in. We've got a lot to talk about, but if you want to learn about the full calendar ahead, the commissioner comments at the end of the Board of Commissioners meeting, you usually get to hear pretty much all of those.
That's true, and it's interesting, at the ESP meeting, there was thought around how we can better inform the public through our commissioner comments, so you might see that addressed in the future, but please watch our meeting and learn more about what we do here at the county.
And cobbcounty.org/subscribe, that's where you can subscribe to all our newsletters that hit your email inbox. Please visit that and cobbcounty.org, and in the meantime, have a nice week.
Yes, and happy holidays.